Some of you may be wondering, what is this QAT stuff, this quantum alignment technique? You know, it's an energetic approach to working with your clients. And why would you want to even take this class? And maybe some of you have already done a bunch of energy classes. You know, I have been doing energetic work and manual therapy for longer than many of you have been alive. I started taking energy stuff classes and doing this kind of work back in the 70s, early 1970s. And so I have a broad experience of what most energetic approaches do and what they cannot do and how long it takes to do it. And when I came across this work that was originally the original concept by Dr. Midas, I realized there was something here. There's a hidden gemstone in the work. And so I developed a whole new approach and techniques for this work. And let's talk about what QAT can do and why you might want to take this class. So one of the interesting things is that there's a process we do called trauma neutralization technique and another process called connection to the brain. And so let's say someone has a stroke and you test them and some of their muscles don't turn on or turn on very poorly. You do this trauma neutralization or the connection to the brain, the muscle instantaneously turns on. It's like magic when it happens. Now, we're not doing magic. What we're doing is a very advanced form of physics. So this physics is, we're talking about quantum fields and quantum entanglement. So quantum fields is the field of reality that manifested this reality, the material reality. And this is where our bodies receive the information from to stay aligned and healthy. It gives the information for our bodies to function at its optimum. And when there's problems with trauma or disconnections due to accidents and surgeries and strokes and things like that, it disrupts that connection to the quantum field and then the body falls in disrepair. So when we use the equipment is simple, it's not magnetic, it's not electromagnetic, there's no electronics whatsoever with the equipment. They're permanently fused pieces of metal that we use that connect to the quantum field and connect the quantum field to the person's body, to that body part or tissue that we're working with. And you're not the healer in this work, the quantum field is, so you don't take responsibility for the effects. The quantum field does not need to be told what to do. All you do is request, can you check this area? Can you check this tissue? Can you check this organ, this part of the organ? And the quantum field will look at it and make a decision what to do and how much to do it. It will never do anything that's not beneficial for the client. Now sometimes the client will feel very sore or trashed out after the session for the next day or two because the body is now rejuvenating itself. It's repairing itself. And even though you didn't do anything to them, you didn't stretch them, you didn't crush any tissue with your elbows or anything like that, you didn't do a joint adjustment, the tissues now have the ability to repair themselves. And that's what you see time and time again. A really interesting thing you see with the quantum entanglement, let's say they have a joint that's not screwed down with stainless steel pins or something like that, or it's not ossified, where the bones actually create a bridge between the two of them. But if the joint actually has the ability to move, but is not moving, with this quantum work, in a few seconds, we see the joint moves. And the same thing with the cranium. The person comes in, their cranial is shifted this way and that way. And if you've done cranial osteopathic work or cranial sacral therapy, it's pretty difficult. It takes time to remove those plates. And you got to have certain skill sets. With this, after you do the work we teach for the cranium rearranges itself. And SI joints can readjust themselves as well. So it's just amazing that we can do those things with the simple connections to the quantum field. So what is quantum entanglement? Well, quantum entanglement is a process that was discovered like 100 years ago by physicists. And when Einstein was presented with this evidence, he said, well, it's real, but it's spooky. And the physicist who won the Nobel Prize in 2022 was on quantum entanglement, where two or more things communicate with each other, irregardless of time and space. So it happens outside of the time-space continuum because it's in the quantum field. Or you can call it the God field if you want. It's where our reality came from. And that reality has all the information we need to have in our bodies to function well. So restoring connection to the brain for stroke patients and other people have joint replacement things, that's a real pleasure for you as the therapist and for the client. So that's really, and if you work with some top level athletes I have, like Olympians, you improve their skill sets as well. That extra 1/4 or 1% can make the difference between a gold medal and nothing. And so that's really interesting work. One of the things as a manual therapist, you go, how we improve organ function. You can take some of the visceral manipulation work and try to do some of that, but I can tell you it's very simple to improve organ function with the quantum work. I have doctors, like some eye doctors here in town, that send people to me. They do their testing and how their eyes move and how their brain is coordinated with their eyes and all that. And they send people to me that they can't correct. I do the quantum work, the QAT work, and they send them back, and then their testing shows it's done the effect. Their brain and their eyes are moving in coordination, in sync. So we also have some other doctors referring for other kinds of work. So this is very light work. It's not hard on you. You, the therapist, just got to stay focused during the session, but remain relaxed because remember, you're not the healer in this work. The quantum field is. Your job is just to place the devices on the different parts of the body and ask a simple question. And that's all you need to do. And so you stay interested in the process, but you're not the master of the process. The quantum field does it. If you're an acupuncturist or if you're not an acupuncturist, you can do wonderful work with some of the devices we use in the quantum alignment technique. We have some little tools we use, little squares, and you put them on a meridian testing or treatment points, and the meridian flows again. And this can be proven if you're an acupuncturist. You do the testing before and after with your pulses and stuff, and you'll see that it works. You can use it on acupuncture points. Let's say if you're an acupuncturist and you have some frail patients, you don't want to stick needles in them because they don't have the energy to deal with that, or they're child, or they're needle phobic, or animals, things like that. You can use these instead of acupuncture needles to do the same effects, if not better. Another thing we can do for ourselves and others in the quantum work is we can do resonance testing for supplements and herbs. And so let's say you have a person that comes in, they have like a whole box full or 2 boxes or 3 boxes of supplements they're using. You can do resonance testing, simple resonance testing with the QAT devices to see which of these supplements actually do some benefit for them and which ones don't actually do much, if anything, for them. And you can see some of the stuff is actually causing a problem for the client, and they don't even know it. Because they're taking so many supplements, they don't know that some of them are causing a problem. So you can usually reduce, get rid of more than half of what a person's taking with some simple testing we teach in the class. We can also make a supplement We call it infusion into water, and if you're aware of Veda Austin's work of infusion into water from pictures of plants and things, and Dr. Emoto's work, messages into water, we can take substances like herbs and gemstones and things, and with the QAT devices, infuse that information into the water, and then you or your client can drink that special mixture. You can put a number of things into water at once. And it stays quite stable. I've tested it now for 9 months, and the infusion remains stable with the same potency and the same qualities that it had originally. The other thing we do with this work is the emotional transformation. So we're not doing a removal of emotions, removal of memories, but I developed a process that is now being used by some psychological professionals in the field. And they use this instead of what they were using, because it's one of the things is the client doesn't have to say anything about what the issue is. They just had to remember a single event in their life that was particularly traumatic and still has its ranging effects on them now. And you hold the pads on them in a certain method and walk them through the process. They go through the memory, and their perspective on the memory of the event starts changing. So that no longer, they remember the event now after the process, but it no longer is emotionally charged. So you remove, the emotional charge dissipates, and they also see a bigger picture of what happened in the event, and also the positive things that came from that very negative event. How they changed their lives in certain ways. You know, sometimes when a person's had a big trauma, they become a therapist themselves to help others lead themselves to the PTSD or the event that they went through. This is a transformative process where the person is able to remember the event and not have any emotional disturbances about that memory. So that's one of the really wonderful things about the quantum work. But remember, you're not the healer in this work, and so you can lay back, relax, and just do the work very simply. It's a fairly simple process. It's not complicated, but you do have to know some anatomy and physiology, how the body works, to better, ask questions for the quantum field to check. But anyway, I heartily recommend taking this class, and because it will bring such joy and happiness to you as a therapist.